Hello, Sally Ann here again, PT Skills, and this bite-sized video is on the blood vessels. So CV system, blood vessels, the vessels that are going to carry our blood all the way around the body and back to the heart and lungs. Okay, so we are going to share. So again, will there be a task at the end? Get your notebooks and pens ready so you can make some notes. Okay, are we ready to go? Okay, so we're looking firstly at arteries. So they're large blood vessels, they're up to 10 millimeters, and they've got thick muscular walls because they have higher blood pressure. So if you think of the arteries, they've got to pump all that blood round from the heart round to the body. So they need to be quite strong, quite muscular, and withhold a lot of pressure. Therefore, they've got thicker walls. They're elasticated in collagen. They need to contract a lot to push the blood through, so they need to have that amount of movement within them to create that power and the activities that they do. So their main role is to take blood away from the heart. So arteries are mainly taking blood away from the heart around to the body, with an exception of the pulmonary artery. And we know, because I've said it before, pulmonary relates to the lungs. And so pulmonary artery is going to carry deoxygenated blood. I was going to say oxygenated, deoxygenated blood. So arteries carry oxygenated blood all the way around the body, with exception of the pulmonary artery, which is going to carry that deoxygenated blood because it's taking it back up to the lungs. So you will need to know that arteries, oxygenated blood, with exception of the pulmonary artery. Okay. Next slide, veins. So they've got quite a large cross section. They're thin walls with a little bit of muscle, and they've got lower blood pressure. They've got valves in them to prevent that backflow, especially so we're working against gravity. If you think something, we've got to bring the blood up all the way from our feet. We need those backflow valves to prevent blood pooling down below. And their main role is to collect blood from the venules and return it to the heart. So veins are carrying mostly deoxygenated blood back up to the heart so we can take it back up to the lungs. Now, so as I've said, they're deoxygenated blood, but we know that the pulmonary vein brings in oxygenated blood into the heart, doesn't it? So veins carry deoxygenated blood, with exception of the pulmonary vein, okay? With exception of the pulmonary vein, which carries oxygenated blood. And you will need to know that, so make a note of those exceptions. And then we have capillaries. So they're extremely small in size. They're like 1 cell thick, because what happens in the capillaries is that's where diffusion happens, or that gaseous exchange. So the walls need to be thin so that those gases can pass through them. Oxygen and carbon dioxide need to pass through. So the walls need to be like nice and thin. Their main role is to allow diffusion of gases and nutrients into and out of them, okay? So with that in mind, there's a little picture here. So if we think from the heart, the vessels for the heart, we go through arteries, arterioles, into the capillary beds, venules, veins, and back up to the heart. So this is the process of all the blood vessels and how they're utilized within the body. And I'm going to do some little pictures in a moment. This is one of my favorite pictures. So if you look at the artery, it's carrying that oxygenated blood, branches into the arteriole, into the capillaries where gaseous exchange happens, venules, and then the veins back up towards the heart. Okay, so hopefully that should make sense. Okay, I'm just going to share. I'm going to stop sharing this, share my other camera. Okay, over to the flip chart. So if we go with that flow, we've got the arteries, and then arterioles, which get slightly smaller, which then allow us to move the blood in through the capillaries. Yeah? So actually all this is predominantly the oxygenated blood. And then when we get to the capillaries, and that gaseous exchange happens, yeah, we then go into venules, veins. Yeah. So we're going from really big, thick vessels with which are strong and powerful, and then they go into slightly smaller into the arterioles. And then when we get into the capillaries, there's these really small vessels where we get this gaseous exchange happen. Yeah. And then into the venules where it gets slightly fatter, and then into the veins where it gets fatter still. Yeah. So again, that process is going from that oxygenated blood, gaseous exchange in the middle there within the capillaries, into that deoxygenated blood back up to the lungs. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. Okay, you are going to have a task now. Let me just bring you back onto me over here. Just going to share again. There we go. So your task, I want you to arrange the blood vessels. So maybe take a little picture of this slide. Arrange the blood vessels below in the correct order, starting from the vessels that transport blood from the heart, and indicating where gaseous exchange takes place. So you want to put in within that flow diagram where gaseous exchange takes place. What I would like you to do is, next to each of those names, just put some little characteristics. So arteries, high blood pressure, thicker walls, what do they carry? Is there an exception? So do some carry oxygenated or deoxygenated blood? So I want you to put as much information on that little flow chart as you can around those vessels and putting them into the correct order. Very similar to what I've done on my flip chart there. So that is your task if you are going to accept that. And I'd love to see those pictures, any comments below, any questions below there. Hope you enjoyed doing that, and I shall catch you very, very soon.